Hello and welcome to another exciting edition of ACK St. Thomas Aquinas Youth Panel Discussion, where we discuss matters that we think are relevant, important, and have a direct influence upon our lives. And today we have a topic that we think you'll find very exciting. And with me here are a panel of young, bright, and active minds that will help us to unpack this idea. And our topic of today is personality traits or personality types, how different people have different personalities. So we want to understand our different personalities and how they influence our lives, our leadership abilities, our career choices, and our interests and hobbies. So first of all, I would like to give my panelists a chance to introduce themselves, starting from the right-hand side, the left-hand side. Please give us a brief introduction of yourself, your name, and your personality type.
My name is Warren Williams Kwanalo. About my personality, I'm everybody. Cannot specify a personality for me. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Beth Wairimo. My personality is introvert.
Hi, I'm Esther Opondo. My personality, I'm an introvert, phlegmatic, melancholic.
Hello, my name is George Oswald. I identify myself as an introvert.
Hi, my name is Nicole Njuki, an introvert.
I'm Anthony Mike Ochieng Juma. Yeah, about my personality, I'm an extrovert, but I cannot base it on the extrovert part because personality keeps changing due to various influences. So I'm an extrovert, but it can be influenced by various things. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Janet Masharia, an introvert, melancholy, phlegmatic.
So thank you very much for that brief introduction. So to help us understand the different personality types, we have had people mention they are introverts, extroverts. I've not heard anybody say they are ambivert, but I've heard you said you are an introvert and other terms. So I want us to understand these terms that you've used to identify ourselves. So who can tell us who an introvert is, or how do introverts behave? What is it that can help us to identify who an introvert is?
An introvert is a reserved person, conserved, a person who keeps most of who they are to themselves. So, for instance, I could say this is a person who feels okay when they are alone. This is someone who feels somehow uncomfortable in the midst of a group of people. So an introvert is a reserved person. They are reserved. They keep it to themselves most of the time.
Thank you very much. Mr. Juma, you identified yourself as an extrovert. Could you please help us understand who an extrovert is?
Okay, there is only one term which is best to describe an extrovert person. This is a social person, outgoing person. This is someone who likes the social gatherings and is very comfortable with mixing with other people. An outgoing person is just the best explanation of this person, and someone who is social. Yeah.
So we have identified that introverts are people who they enjoy their own company. They don't like going out. And extroverts are people who enjoy social gatherings. They like going out. They are active. So apart from those characteristics, what are other characteristics how can we differentiate? What other characteristics do we find in one group and we don't find in another? How can we differentiate between the two personalities?
Okay, from my side, the first thing to differentiate from the two personality traits is that an extrovert person has very many friends compared to an introvert who only have very few friends. Yeah, that is one of my characteristics.
Anybody else wants to add a thing or two on that?
For introverts, they are very calm. compared to the extroverts. Extroverts are very jumpy, if I can say that.
For me, I can say there are personalities who have solitude, like myself. I'm a person of solitude. I'm not involved with many people, but I can say I'm involved with the universe. I can interact with everybody, but the point of bringing someone close to me, I sometimes protect my energy. I don't allow everybody to me, but I cannot keep to myself for that long. I enjoy the solitude. I'm not attached to people, but I love being around people.
And ambiverts. There are those who don't identify themselves as either introverts or extroverts. They are somewhere in between, and they call themselves ambiverts. So, who can best define for us this term, ambivert, and how do they relate? How do they carry themselves out?
I think an ambivert is a person who his personality will differ with the environment. Like if they're in a happy place, their personality will be different. Like they don't have a constant personality. They are not alone. They don't like staying alone, and still they don't like to be outgoing. Yes, I think that's what an ambivert is.
So they take from both sides. Okay. So let us discuss some of the factors that influence our personality traits. We know we don't live in a vacuum. We live in an environment where we interact with different people and different circumstances that shape our personalities. So let us discuss some of these things that may influence our personality types in one way or another.
First, I can say friends. Maybe you'll be in a group of friends who are very extroverted. If you find yourself in that group, you can find yourself being part of it. Like birds of the same feathers flock together. So you can find yourself loving to go out, loving to go to parties. Yeah.
Pain. Sometimes pain changes you. It may change your personality to the positive or to the negative side. Maybe you find pain can make you a monster, and then again, pain can make you a leader. In some cases, the way you handle that pain is what matters, because you may find when you grow, you are being mistreated, you are being treated badly. So in some cases, it may make you become a good person to make other people not suffer the way you suffered. But on the other end, it can make you revenge. You want to revenge because a personality of a human being, in some cases, people are vengeful. For not because it has made, not because of their making they are vengeful, it is because the world has made them to be vengeful in different ways.
So, looking at factors influencing a personality, first we have to look at the factors influencing a behavior and personality. They are more of the same because behavior and personality, they are linked, because someone with a certain kind of personality portrays a certain kind of behavior. Now look like genetics. Studies have shown that monozygotic twins portray the same personality but not 100%. Same to the dizygotic twins who portray similar characteristics to what we can call the personalities, but they are not the same. Yeah, the other thing which influences a personality is the environment. The environment which we are grown in. You don't expect all the children who have grown in a slum area and those who come from, let's take, for instance, Karen, to have the same kind of personalities, because they have been predisposed to very different kind of lifestyles. So environment is a key issue in personality development. Thank you.
I would also add faith, somebody's faith, and giving an example for Christians who believe in the Bible. And so you find that we have been told not to conform to the old ways. And so you find every trait has its strength and its weaknesses. And so you'll find that I would want to work on my weaknesses according to what the Bible says. And so you find that I will start to unlearn some of my negative side of my personality and embrace more strengths that comes with a Christ-like personality.
Let's not forget about our cultures. Our cultures are really important in developing a certain kind of personality. Because let's take, for instance, someone who is a Luo. There is that personality which they have because of their culture. You know, amejiweza, because he's a Luo. The grandiosity part of it, amejiweza. So this will predispose this person to develop a certain kind of personality. Yeah.
Okay. Does anyone want to add something? Beth, you've been so quiet. Can you add something on that? Tukuruke.
I think someone has said people may tend to influence your personality, especially to those who are close to. It depends with what they tell you and what you take in.
There is education also is a very key factor in developing a certain kind of personality, because our different levels of education, of course, teaches us different things. So someone who is more educated will develop a different kind of personality as compared to the other people. Yeah.
I want us to move and look into how different people with different personalities deal with depression, stress, or criticism. Because outside there, you'll find people who will criticize your personality or your behavior. You'll find some people telling you maybe you are too quiet, or you are too talkative, or you are too this or too that. So how do different personalities react to this, to criticism, and how do they handle stress and depression?
Looking at the two personality types that we have, either you are an introvert or an extrovert, you find most extroverts, when criticized, don't take things personally. Like to them, they like a life that is stress-free. So you criticize them, to them, they'll believe that you are not attacking them personally, but you are attacking what they have done or what you want them to do. But that's different when it comes to an introvert. When you criticize an introvert, I think they tend to cling to that, and it tends to affect them. They tend to feel like you are attacking them as a person and not what they have done at that moment. And so you find that criticism will affect an introvert negatively than an extrovert who will just brush it off. If he is angry, it's just a minute, and the next minute, life goes on. But an introvert hangs on to what you said because they believe you attacked them, their personality, or you attacked them personally. Yes, and so it goes with maybe depression. You find if someone who is not outspoken, it's even hard for you to realize that they are facing a challenge because they will not be able to speak out like an extrovert who is always jumpy, destructive. So it's easier for them to even share their problem than an introvert.
Take, for instance, our leaders. You know, you don't expect an introvert person to go outside there to vie for a seat like an MP or a president. My friend, this person is going to suffer. Okay, I'm not saying that they should not, but the fact is that they are going to suffer because most of our leaders are extroverts. Because if you cannot manage a simple criticism, someone criticizes you just simply, then you take it like a big deal. Then you cannot, there is no way that you will hold that position. You will go through much stresses, depression itaingia, you know, all those things. So our leaders go through very difficult times, you know. So you don't expect someone who is introvert to go to there. You will suffer. Yeah, thank you.
How about when it comes to dealing with stress and depression? Do you think that maybe extroverts are better at handling stress and depression than introverts?
Okay, no. Both of them can deal with their depression at different levels, you know, because people are always different. We have the inborn factors which also makes us different. You can find an introvert person who knows how to deal with their stresses and depression, you know, because dealing with the stress again is another task added on the personalities. So even the introverts, some of them know how to deal with their depression. You know, someone might be depressed and is an introvert. Atenda kunywe maji na you will be relieved from the stress. That is a way of dealing with the stress for them, one of the ways. But an extrovert is better because find our leaders. He will go to maybe their personal assistant and ask them, wanasema nini hapo nje? Then atasema, let them continue making noise. Then to him, atafunga masikio na atadili na stress yake hivyo. Yeah.
There is something awareness, there's something about awareness, there's something about that anger, there's something about a depression. Once you are aware you are angry, you will not be angry again, because those two things cannot go together, even awareness and depression. So once you are aware you are depressed, you will not be depressed again. So awareness is also a part of what will deal with the personality traits, not specifically basing on introvert or extrovert.
Me, I wanted to ask a question about, okay, soft-hearted, lenient, na shy. Okay, I used to think that those are weaknesses, but I came to learn that they might be weaknesses in some ways, they might not be weaknesses in other ways. But I want someone to help me, like being soft-hearted and changing yourself to be hard-hearted. Like if someone does something to you, you don't easily cry. Is that a weakness?
Who would like to answer Beth's question?
Okay, it's not a weakness. Thank you. It's not a weakness. But you know, someone who was soft-hearted, then transforming to become hard-hearted. That is what you are saying. Yeah, you see, it depends with this person was going through. Because for a person who has gone through very many things, hard times, difficult times, has had many challenges, most probably this person will change to become hard-hearted. There are high chances that this person is going to change to become a hard-hearted person. So to me, it's not a weakness. Yeah, it only depends with the situation. But to be a soft-hearted person is not a weakness.
So I can give an example. Yeah, nilikuwa na laptop, nikapea mtu akai-break. Then I gave that someone a period of time kuitengeneza, but hakuitengeneza. Instead nilienda nikaachana na yeye, nilienda nikaichukua, nikakaa nayo, then I gave it to someone else, then akakaa nayo mpaka till today sijaiona. So someone told me, like, I'm so lenient and soft-hearted, I didn't take any action.
Being lenient or soft-hearted has more to do with your faith or your beliefs maybe as a Christian, and maybe not your personality. I don't think being lenient is a weakness if you look at it from the perspective of your faith, because if you're a Christian, the Bible tells us to forgive people and to not hold grudges with people who have wronged us. So from a Christian perspective, it's not a weakness. It's actually a strength. But if you look at it from the world point of view, then we can say being lenient or forgiving people is a weakness, because they'll wrong you and they'll get away with it, and you'll be left lamenting your losses. So it depends on how you look at it. But I think from a Christian perspective, it's very good to be lenient and to be forgiving.
We need to advocate for people to know their personality traits. That way you will embrace who you are and you will not be intimidated by what people say. I tend to think a weakness, it's something that you might do that is even hurting yourself or even other people. something you don't like about yourself, like what can I say? Like irritation, anger, things that are very negative. And maybe to just back up what George is saying, maybe things that even as Christians the Bible is against. Those are negative traits that not only drain you, but also drain other people. What you can work around it and also improve on. But things of leniency and being kind, being generous, being patient, being a peacemaker, that is who you are. And if it's not harming you as an individual, not the other person, and you're okay with it, then there should be no person who is coming from out there to try to intimidate you with who you are. So personality traits help us to embrace uniqueness. It helps us to identify differences because we are all different. In our own ways, we are different because we have different personality traits. You can never be me, and I will never be you, because God has created us with different personality traits. And the best thing about a personality trait, it will help you solve a situation in your own way, the way without putting so much effort to deal with that situation. So if for that laptop, for you it was easier to let go for your own inner peace, that is Beth, and you're okay with it. So always embrace who you are, and knowing who you are will help you identify when someone else is attacking you with your personality. Yes, so it's not a weakness. Always know which your weaknesses are, which your strengths are, and they will be helping you to deal with situations the best way you can. Yeah.
I want us to look at how personality traits or types will should affect does affect our career choices. Do you believe that when we are making career choices, we should look at our personality traits, or do you think that personality traits has nothing to do with our career choices? How do our personality traits affect our career choices, in short?
It does affect our career choice. As an introvert, I cannot do sales and marketing because I cannot compare myself with an extrovert who is very talkative. I can go do sales and marketing. You find out that sitauza kitu. But for a talkative person, that an extrovert person, anaweza convince huyu nunua hii ubai anaweza. As for me, I can't. I think personality affects our career choice. For an introvert, unaweza chagua an office work whereby umekaa tu umetulia like jano, pali tu uko tu na space yako, au deal na watu wengi. Yes, you deal with people, but I think kuna venye tu hiyo personality yako ukichagua career ina affect. Yeah.
The personality trait of a person is going to affect the career path they're going to take. Like, for instance, an extrovert, as Juma said, they are the politicians, like you see, the people who surround themselves with a lot of people. And introverts, they will just find this office work, like you'll just be a manager somewhere. You see, you won't be interacting with a lot of people. Like the people who you are interacting with, they are not many. An ambivert, it will be so easy for this person because they won't have anything to stop them from either working as a person who is an extrovert or an introvert. So I think to an extent, in affect the career path.
I think it can be both ways. If you identified your personality at an earlier age, probably it is going to influence the career choice that you make. But most of us, I think, it's until we got older, we realized, and now I think it's the time for me to identify who I am. Already, maybe I had already taken a career path. So you might also find the career that I chose influencing my my personality, just as we were discussing factors that influence personality. And so maybe where you are at workplace is also changing the personality trait that you have.
And do you think that your personality will influence your success in your career in one way or another? In a different, maybe how you perform in that career that you've chosen, in that job. Do you think your personality will determine whether you are successful or not in a particular career?
Yeah, I want to answer that question. Okay, our success is not based on our personality. In that, an introvert person, even if he chooses a certain kind of a career, self-awareness is very key, because when you are aware of yourself, even if you are an introvert and you are dealing with very many people, you will know the limits which you will choose, which will go, and what can trigger you to do a certain kind of thing. So when you are aware of yourself, it won't be difficult for you to be successful, even if you are an introvert. So to me, the personality does not measure our success in life.
And you mentioned a moment ago that most leaders tend to be extroverts. So I just want us to discuss that into detail. Do you think that maybe extroverts make better leaders than introverts? Or do you think that leadership should be left for extroverts alone, that introverts should take the back seat and let the extroverts run the economy, the politics, the sports, the entertainment, everything? What do you think?
First, I think your character doesn't depends on yani career doesn't matter either you are extrovert or introvert. First, I think that what you love most and what you do with all your heart is what will make you successful. So if I love singing and I'm an introvert, I'll sing well. Sindio? If I'm confident.
Does personality affect our leadership? No, I will say no. First, I'll give myself as an example. I never knew I'll be a leader, and this is a thing that it was identified by someone that, Esther, you can be a leader. Namwambia, hey, I can't. The way niko so reserved, nini, I cannot be a leader. That's when I knew that personality does not affect leadership.
And then how do you respond to the fact that most leaders tend to be extroverts? Why is it that most leaders are extroverts and not introverts? What causes that?
Say their leadership is a skill, and it's something you develop with time. So when you are developing that skill, the self-awareness which my brothers said, self-awareness, when you are aware of yourself, you are aware of your weak points, you are aware of your strong ones, you can do anything. And with that, when you develop your leadership skills, you become a good leader.
Leaders are born and made. Anyone can be a leader, because personality traits will just influence our leadership styles. If I am an introvert, so one thing with an introvert, they don't like attention. They will never volunteer to do something. So if I am an introvert leader, what I will do, my style is what will determine the success of my leadership. So you'll find leadership to me will be letting other people take up the role. Go with it as I give them that chance. And so you find if it's in an organization, most organizations that are led by introverts, their employees tend to have morale because they are being given the chance to give ideas, to run with an idea and to do whatever, because their leader, yeye hayuko after commanding people, bossing them around, doing all that, you see. So they tend to flourish in that way, that they are given the chance to do whatever they want. If it's innovations, if it's what, the leader will allow them to do all that. When it comes to an extrovert who is always commanding, maybe bossy, who is always, if that leader does not recognize that he needs also to give his people space to be who they are, he can't be a successful leader. We cannot say that all leaders are extroverts. Only that our personality traits influence our leadership styles. So if I'm extrovert, and you will not even know the difference, maybe you'll just say they are all extroverts, but they have learned on the job. How will this influence my leadership? And at the end of the day, I have to be a successful leader, just as you said. Success matters. So I will either work around who I am to ensure that my people get best leadership, or I'll have to let them be, and I'll just be guiding them as they take up the role. Yeah.
Yes. Okay. I want to concur with my sister about the leadership, but I want to expound something on leadership styles, because you talked about the leadership styles which is influenced by our personalities. Yeah, I agree with you 100%. Yeah, talking about the leadership styles, you asked us that should extroverts be left to lead, but the introverts should not lead us. I disagree with that also, because even the introverts make very good leaders. In fact, they are the managers. The extroverts are the leaders. You know, there is a difference between a manager and a leader. A leader is someone who influences, a charismatic person who can influence a crowd, but is not a fruitful person, you know. But a manager is someone who is very fruitful, you know. Wale watu wanaongea kidogo lakini matendo yao ni makubwa. So there is a very big difference between a leader and a manager. Extroverts do make very good managers. Then the leadership styles, we have the democratic, the dictatorial, and the free reign. Talking about the dictators, many dictators are the extroverts, which we agree it's fruitful, but your employees do suffer very much. Then the democratic leadership style is the best one, because there is teamwork, there is involvement of everyone, you know. Yeah, and this one we get it from the introvert. They like to involve everyone, which the extroverts do not. So your personality does not make you to be a good leader or a bad leader. It's just the self-awareness, the way we said it. Yeah, thank you.
I want us to discuss another thing that I found very interesting. That is our personalities and how it influences our relationships, whether they be romantic relationships or other relationships at workplace or at home. So do you think, for example, that before you begin a romantic relationship, that you should consider your personality and the personality of the person that you're going to engage with? Or do you think it becomes irrelevant, personality is irrelevant to relationship or romantic relationship for that matter?
In some cases, it influences, in that you may find someone is spontaneous and another partner is not that spontaneous. Maybe the other part, sometimes he gets violent, but the other person likes to make peace. So you cannot find them getting well along, because the other part wants to be spontaneous, to everything they say is what you should follow, and the other part is only interested in peace and making good relations. So that may influence in some way.
But people say that opposites attract. That is, people with the different personalities want to date people with a different personality than their own. So do you think it's a good idea for an introvert maybe to want to date an extrovert, or an extrovert wants to date an introvert?
In some cases it might be good, but the important part is compromise. You know, there are some people who never like to compromise. Even when they are wrong, they will not accept they are wrong. So it may work, but on the other part it may not work because of the how someone is raised also may influence.
As for me, I think different personality traits can, to an extent, influence the kind of partner you're going to be with, and to an extent also not influence. Now, that is, for instance, it will influence the kind of partner you're going to be with in terms of if your choices, like, do you prefer can you accommodate that other person? And also, I think personality traits will influence relationship. Not now the like partners relationship, like home relationship. Yes. Like for instance, you're in a family of 8. You won't expect that the 8 of you will have the same personality trait, and that will bring conflict. At times you won't be able to like be along with your siblings like 24/7. Yes.
So, do you think that the success of a relationship depends on the personality traits of the people in that relationship? Maybe Juma.
Okay, I don't agree. I don't agree because, okay, you said that different kind of personalities attract, then the same repel. Okay, I don't agree because let's begin, because the fact that we always pray for God to give us the right person, is it? Yeah, so that is a very critical matter to consider. We always pray to God to give us the right person, but also knowing someone whom you are dating or you are married to is very important, because take for instance, you are married to someone who is very bad at calls. You know, when you know the personality of this person is an introvert, it will help you to deal with this person. Yeah, you know that your partner is not good at calls, so it will be very important to you, and it will also help you. Hamtakuwa mkikosana, unanipata? Yeah, mtakuwa ukimpigia shiki itakuwa ni normal kwako. Yeah, thank you.
Maybe I can say, first of all, you have to know who you are. You have to understand your traits. And it's so unfortunate if you get into a relationship, we don't consider personality. We don't. Actually, unaingia tu, ndio unajipata like, kai, huyu mtu ako hivi, na ako hivi, na ako hivi. So it's up to you to compromise. It's up to you to take, like, ujue ni hivi ndivyo yako. Kama uwezani nayo, maybe unaweza jitoa. Like for me, I can say, maybe you get somebody who is very impatient, very impatient. Wewe unashindanga ukichelewa. Na yako hapo like ukichelewa atakasirika. So it's up to me nijue like my partner hapendi nikichelewa. Hapendi juu atakasirika. So it's up to me like next time if we meet, I come 5 minutes earlier. It's about of coping with the traits of that person and compromising.
I'll support Esther 100. It's always, for real, when we get into relationships, we are blinded to even know a personality ya mtu kwanza. But as you proceed, ndio, hizo sasa inaanza kukuhit, mtu anakuanga aje. But I think it needs to begin with, who am I as a person? That way it will enable you to know and what kind of a person. I tend to think it is very serious. What kind of a person can I cope with? Because if I found I have a same personality with my partner during dating, I feel like we are competing. Kuna competition, then I need to ask myself, am I ready to compromise? How many are ready to compromise? Am I ready to compromise? If I'm ready to compromise, then I will compromise with this person. But if I feel like it's too much, then ask yourself, is it worth it? Because it's not a crime to walk out of a relationship because of of personality conflicts. Because if you are living with this person for the rest of your life and you're not ready to compromise some of these things, then hakuna haja. It will be like a prison for both of you. And there is no point, because probably you knew it before you got in, so you're just dragging someone down with you. So it is very important to know personality, and it plays a very key role in romantic relationships. So it is very important to identify, have a self-awareness, so as it will enable you now to sit down and know, can I be good with a phlegmatic or a choleric, ama a sanguine? Can I cope with, what kind of a personality can I cope with? Ili isifike place ikwe ni kama you are competing, there is no understanding, and you are not ready to compromise. So it plays a very key role.
Yeah, I agree with my sister Janet, but I want to pose a question to you. Okay, you have been dating this person the way you have told us. Let's say for 10 years or even 20 or even 30 years. Yeah, dating, a courtship. Okay, to be realistic, for even 8 years, 2 years. You can date even for 20 years, but you don't know someone. Ndio mnaoana venye umetuambia. Then ndio unakuja unajua, huyu jamaa kumbe ogangi wiki moja. So okay, that's just a question. Yeah. So you can date someone, then you cannot know his personality during the dating time. It's only when you are married is when you are going to know that this person is like this. Kumbe amekuwa kijificha ndio nisimjue. Mkioana ndio saa huyu mtu anaanza kutoa sababu ile personality yake. Yeah.
Very hard to hide your personality. It's very hard. Like wezi kana mtu like 3 months ama 6 months haujajua kitu yenye uko unajua before muingie kwa hiyo relationship. It's very hard.
And again, I find people who hide, most likely you just used to be two of you. So you never exposed yourself to friends. You never exposed yourself to social gathering where these two people can't like express themselves fully. But and the best place to know someone, it's when you're in crowds. It's not when you're two of you. If you were dating for those 10 years and you were just the two of you, that's a red flag. But if you were out there with people and these people will never hide, one, with their family, two, with their friends. So if you were with friends of this person, you will just pick something from them. If you met their family, you will pick something from your spouse. So 100% someone can't hide unless you were in a cocoon or in your just a space of you two.
There are people who are good at hiding, very deceitful, very cunning. You have never met them, but me have met them. They are very cunning. You will not know, but with the time, when you get more closer, it's when you will know their characters.
So you agree with me?
I agree. I agree.
But I've been answered by Janet, yeah.
And now to our last question. I wanted us to discuss how the lockdown, the partial lockdown that we are experiencing, the curfew, what bearing does it have on our personalities? Is it more do extroverts or introverts find it easier to cope with the current situation than the other? Does it have any bearing on our personalities? Does it affect our personality? Or do we find it easy for extroverts to cope or introverts to cope with the current lockdown because of the coronavirus pandemic?
Yeah, it may affect your personality, but you tend to find a diversion. If you are a social person, you'll tend to find an alternative for being social, maybe in social media, or you like adventure.
We are in the midst of COVID-19 pandemic, and it really affects our personality. In fact, it is a very crucial time where we will have very mental illness disorders. Because, staying at home, it is not easy as much as we are being told to stay at home. Take, for instance, someone like an extrovert who like hanging with people every now and then. Even the introverts, the introverts, even them, they go to the malls, they go to the restaurants, then they lock themselves hapo mahali kwa restaurant, anajilock mahali, si ndio? Na anakula chakula yake, anapanda gari, anarudi, si ndio? So even to them it's very difficult. So this is the time that we are going to have very mental disorders, and it is going to drive us to a topic of personality disorders, where I want to take you through for some few minutes. So what is a personality disorders? We have discussed personalities, the extrovert, the introvert, but we can't finish without discussing the personality disorders, which are when the pattern of the personality becomes rigid and stubborn to the person. That is when we call it a disorder, and now it becomes a mental illness or a mental disorder, a deviation from the normal. Yeah. And when you are looking at these personality disorders, you have to consider the culture of this person. So some of the factors which influence the personality disorders are like the constitutional factors, as we said. These are the inbuilt factors of the person. They are very critical, which may lead for a person to develop a personality disorders. That is one of the factors which influence a personality disorder. The other one is the environment. The environment which you are predisposed to, like our families, the social factors within us. Like when we have divorces in families, wrangles between our wives and their husband, it may predispose a child to a personality disorders. Then the other one is a poor child upbringing. When this child is being brought very, very poorly, it predisposes them to develop the personality disorders. Yeah. So some of the personality disorders as discussed, I want just to brush around them. Like the first one is the we have schizoid personality disorder. These are the people who are they like to stay aloof. They are non-touch. These are the egoistic people, very selfish, egoistic. Then they are self-centered, the eccentric, all self-centered. Then they are very discharged from other people. They don't like to mix with the others. So when you see some of these characteristics being repeated into a person every now and then, it becomes a disorder and it becomes alarming. Then the other personality disorder, you have the hysterical personality disorder. This one is seen mainly in our girl child. They really portray this personality disorder, This is where they like to cling for attention, They become very stubborn. These are the people who can dress in very bright colored clothes every day. It's not normal. You cannot dress in a white cloth from Monday to Sunday.
Yeah.
That is not someone who is normal, Sorry to say that.
I
But
have a question. I have a question.
Yeah.
Do you think the personality disorders, are they treatable? Can they be treated?
Okay, so I can answer you before, because I was moving to that after the personality disorders.
Okay.
The hysterical. As I said, they are portrayed in our girl child. Yeah. Then the other one is the indecisive personality disorders. These are the people who cannot make decisions on their own. They cling for others to make even their personal decisions. They always cling for other people. Then they cannot compete. These are people who cannot compete for anything. The indecisive personality disorder people. Yeah. Then the other is, we have talked about the hysterical, schizoid. We have the paranoid personality disorder. The paranoid, these are people who are self-referenced. They like to reference themselves every now and then. The people whom they like to view everything that they talk about, they always reference about themselves. Then they have insecurity issues, they always feel that someone is after their lives, such things. Someone is after them, someone want to harm them. These are the paranoid personality disorder people. Yeah. Then, okay, let me conclude by answering the question that was posed to me. There are very many the personality disorders, yeah, but we'll discuss them next time. So they are not treatable because they are not very alarming. It is just a deviation from the normal. So what you have to do with these people, just be firm with them. Then you just keep on talking about the personality and let them themselves always have discussions like this where they can always talk about those personality disorders. Keep talking about the personality disorder. Then they are going to change. Yeah, thank you.
And just maybe a last question. How common are these personality disorders? Do we find them commonly or they are rare?
Yeah, they are very, very common. Go to any mental facility. You will find these personality disorders. The hysteria. People always view this hysteria as a very shallow case, but it is very, very alarming because it might even lead for someone to commit suicide. Someone who want to cling for attention. They always like to be the center of attraction. Then if you fail to give them that attraction, do you know that this person is going to be depressed? Then it will lead to this person to commit, to have a suicidal attempt. Yeah, so they are very, very common.
Maybe I can ask, is it possible for someone to know that he or she has a personality disorder?
Yeah. You can. Okay, this is where we have the Johari window coming in, and I know Janet is going to take us through the Johari window briefly, kindly. Yeah, you are going to take us through the Johari window. Yeah, things that people know about you, they are very, very important because I've said that if these patterns become very rigid, and even you yourself, you see yourself repeating the same personality, you hurt people. Like the antisocial personality, let me talk about it. It is another personality disorder. It is called antisocial personality disorder. And for me, this is kind of the worst because these are the people who lack remorseful, they don't have capacity to love. They can abuse drugs, most of them. They are the people who abuse drugs, They are the people who can kill. They are the people wale wenye yani wanakukanyaga kwa gari hivi na kuambi pole. Mtu anakutemea mate kwa kiatu lakini akuambi, anakaa very comfortable to continue with the journey. We call them antisocial personality disorders. Yeah.
Janet can take us through the Johari's windows.
Okay, I will begin by saying that it is very important, as we have said, to identify your personality traits. Reason being, it helps you to relate well with others and also to come to terms with yourself. One way to identify your personality traits, there are tests that you can take. There are quizzes. If you just Google something in the Google, you can just do a simple test of who you are. And also, I would refer you to a test that I would like to ask, 16 personality test. That is MBTI personality test. I trust that before we came here, some of us had done it, and they are able to identify who they are. Either they are introverts, extroverts, and if you are an introvert, you find that it is also divided into two. So you will fall either under melancholy or a phlegmatic. If you are an extrovert, then you will fall under sanguine or choleric. So that's an assignment for us to go research. The second way you can know about your personality trait, it's just putting yourself out there. Have communication with people who are going to give you feedback. And with that, you can have, each one of us has 4 windows. So we call it Johari window. The first window is the open or the free. So the open, these are characteristics or things that you know about yourself and other people know about you. Then we have the hidden window, which is things that only you know about, but people out there don't know about you. Then we have the blind window, where most people out there know about you, but you don't know about them yourself. Then we have the unknown window, which is you and other people don't know about. So this window helps us in two ways: to gain trust from others by revealing who we are, and also to letting us learn more about who we are. And so it requires more of openness, communication, and feedback. So if you are out there, Beth, maybe here as youths, there is what people know about you. But most likely it's not who you are. But it will help you now to gauge, who am I exactly? Then through feedback, people coming to tell you who they think you are. They will also experience or realize potentials that you didn't know that you got. And so it elevates or makes you understand more of who you are, your strengths, your weaknesses, your potentials, and your limits. Then if there are things that you know about yourself, it is important also to let other people know, so as someone does not just judge you, but just let people take you for who you are. And we need to avoid this laboring negativity. If I am angry, you just want to be calling me melancholy, But let us just take people just as they are, and let us help people discover who they are in a good way and not in a judgmental way. Yes.
Thank you, and that's all we had for today. I want to urge all of you to take that burden of knowing who you are. Till next time, bye-bye.